Welcome to Metaphysical Soul Speak. I'm your host, Elena Fox Starks. Hey guys, I hope that whenever and wherever you are when you hear this recording, that you remember to be grateful for your journey and you accept yourself and how far you've come on your path so far. Just because we're not there yet doesn't mean that you have failed or that you're not doing a good job. It just means that we're still on the journey. So I want you to know that you are doing a good job and you need to give yourself some credit. Pat yourself on the back. Unless you're driving, both hands on the wheels. Or the wheel, not wheels, but technically it is. When you put your hand on the steering wheel, you're actually steering four wheels. Well, maybe two wheels if you have two-wheel drive, but we're not going to get into those semantics. Oh, speaking of vehicles and cars and transportation, my oldest kid wrote to me today and said that Elon Musk is still continuing the plans for the is it the Hyperloop? Yeah, I was going to say the Hyperlink. No, wait, that's not it. The Hyperloop. But then I started looking up articles, and a lot of them say that it's going to cost too much money. They'll never recoup the money. I don't care. I hope he goes through with it all the way. The Hyperloop, if you've never heard of it, I had never heard of it. I looked at pictures of it, the conception of it. It looks like a habit trail for a hamster. And there's little pods that go back and forth in it. And it kind of looks like, another thing it looks like are those tubes that in old-fashioned movies you'll see people shooting messages to people in a little capsule that goes in the vacuum tube. So anyway, that's what it looks like to me. It looks like a vacuum tube. Anyway, it's like a super, super fast, high-speed bullet train, and the people would be put in what's called pods, which has a lot of creepy undertones, that word. I grew up in an era where pod people were in movies quite often. But basically, it would take 30 minutes to go from Los Angeles to San Francisco. Now, I've made the Northern California to Southern California drive many times. I've driven it myself. I've been in the car as a passenger while other people drive it. The fastest I've ever done that trip is in 5.5 hours when I was in the back seat and the Saudi Arabians were driving. Oh my God, they go so fast. They're excellent drivers, but they're so fast. Totally ridiculous. But for me, when I was driving, I think maybe 8 to 9 hours I did it once. But usually it was 12 because I have kids and we had to stop all the time to eat or stretch our legs, get gas, whatever. We're bored. We need licorice, whatever. But 30 minutes. I mean, can you imagine you can live in LA and work in the Bay, or vice versa, live in the Bay and work in LA? Pretty neat. And then they were going to do one between Washington, D.C. and I think New York. It's a really cool idea. I hope that they continue with it. But Elon Musk does starts things he doesn't finish, and I don't know why. It's really weird. I mean, maybe some of the stuff he's started and finished, but I don't know. He was supposed to do that. He finally did get the Tesla done, but it's not driving itself yet. That was supposed to be, he thought that in 2017 it was going to drive. All of his cars would drive themselves already. And even with the Waymo technology, he hasn't even added it. So his auto driving cars are not working. And yet, I mean, I think it will. I think he's just a few years, he was hopeful, about it. But he hasn't finished anything cool like that. I mean, the Tesla cars, I admit, are very cool. So at least he did that. But I hope that whatever happens, that it all moves forward in the direction of his dreams, because his dreams can become our really cool-ass reality. So, yeah, I've been thinking about that today. And my oldest son wrote me and said that there's quantum teleportation is real. They're almost to the point of having it perfected, in which they can teleport large bodies of matter or large life. I told him, I said, you know what, son, I cannot wait for that to happen. I'm sure as hell not going first, though. Not stepping into the transporter beam anytime soon. Sorry, Scotty, I'm not getting in that thing right now. We're going to wait and see, the first 1 million people go through. All right, maybe the first 1,000 or 100,000. I mean, if one glitch goes wrong, especially, oh my God, Microsoft with all of its crashes of the software. Remember years ago, every 5 minutes it was crashing. I went out and bought a Mac. I was like, screw this. Now I'm back to the Microsoft-based. Well, actually, I have an Android-based computer. But I mean, can you imagine? Oh, sorry, ma'am, your husband on his way to work when he was teleporting to the moon, well, there was a glitch. What was the glitch? Well, it broke down. We had to restart it while he was in between places. Well, where is he now? We think he's floating in space somewhere. There's no way he survived that. I mean, I don't know. I'm happy we have teleportation. I'm happy about the quantum everything. But that stuff is a little scary. It's a little scary. But I've been excited. I've been reading about a lot of different things. Volvo is coming up with a C360. It's a self-driving car that has like a living room. You just step into your living room on wheels, program in where you want to go, and sit at the table and work. And if you feel like taking a nap, you just fold the table up and take the bed out, and you've got a bedroom. It's almost like a tiny house on wheels that drives itself wherever you want it to go. It's the coolest thing ever. I'm like, that's perfect. I mean, if the Habitrail pod thing doesn't work out, the Hyperloop doesn't work out, we could just, hot box our cars, sleep in the bed on the way from San Francisco to LA. That's perfect. And you're not driving the vehicle, it's driving itself. You can't get a ticket or in trouble, and weed is legal there. I mean, I'm looking at all these possibilities, and I'm like, yeah, all right. This could work out. It's pretty cool stuff. I can't believe the Hyperloop will go faster than an airplane. That's so freaky, right? To go that fast and be that close to the ground. it's cool because you can't plummet to the ground, you know? I mean, it's really cool. It's such a cool idea. 30 minutes. I mean, seriously, wherever you're going, it's going to take you 30 minutes just to go to anywhere in traffic, you know? Although that might eliminate a lot of the traffic. I don't know. My son was saying you can't get across the bay with a paper ticket anymore. I guess you have to have a straight up card for the BART, and that's how this whole thing started. We started talking about transportation and innovation, and it was my son is really smart, and I love having these kind of conversations with him. So apparently he got his California ID. Did you guys know that when you move to California, you're not allowed to vote until you have gotten your ID, and you're not allowed to even apply for an ID until you have lived there for 1 year, and you have to have proof that you've lived there for 1 year. It's crazy. I'm like, well, you know, just tell them that you've got, you know, you have your passport and you've got your birth certificate. You're from California. And they wouldn't have anything to do with my son until he proved he was there. So you had to show him, I guess, I don't know what, maybe got his passport stolen. I don't know how he did it, honestly. I think he had like maybe his airplane ticket stub from when he first landed in California. And then you have to have an address, which he's homeless, but he's living in a shelter now. So I think he used a shelter address. And then he got a job there, which is cool. It's like a volunteer position, though. So he gets to live there forever if he wants. I don't know. Maybe not forever. Maybe it's a few years, but he loves it. He's like, yeah, I'm like not making any money, but I'm really enjoying it. Like, it's really, really fun. And I'm like, yeah. So he's getting a lot of experience. It's neat. Anyway, I wanted to thank you guys for praying for the Amazon rainforest because it has started to rain there. Yay. I hope it's enough to put the fires out. I hope. I know that the energy here was a lot clearer, a lot better. I was tired all day. I don't know if it's because I'm hitting the flu stage of this keto diet that I started 6 days ago, or if it's because of the fact that we are at 99 on the Ascension Symptom scale. You know, might be a personal dietary thing for me, or it could be, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I ate cabbage today in the diet and yesterday, and I realized I've had cabbage almost every day, and I had told them that I have the adrenal body type, and they said they were so familiar, Dr. Berg, don't worry, I know about all this stuff. And then they proceeded to give me cruciferous vegetables, which are bad for the adrenal type, like for the whole week. And I'm like, oh my God, why? So I'm going to have to retrain them or train them on what the hell I was talking about. I think they said it just to be agreeable. And it doesn't always work out, you know? So, but even still, I did lose a couple pounds this week, I think. I mean, I don't own a scale. I don't believe in scales. But I do, you know, my clothes are a little looser, and I'm feeling a little better in that way. So this looks like it just might work. On the Schumann resonance today, at disclosurenews.it, they say, at the evening report, 1700 UTC time, minor activity today, limited from 7 to 11 UTC, maximum peak was 20 hertz at 10:30 UTC time. So not bad. I mean, there's hardly ever any activity lately in Italy. And I just keep feeling like the magnetosphere is practically gone at this point. Oh my God, this tea is so fabulous. I bought green tea, and I think I just liked the packaging and I didn't really read it. I don't know why, but I just thought, oh yeah, that looks good. Green tea. We need that. And it was cheaper than the other green tea. And I got it home and I'm like, I don't remember buying mandarin orange green tea. So there's like bits and pieces of mandarin oranges, and it is so good. So fabulous. I'm so happy. I noticed my son opened it and he was drinking it. I'm like, what tea is that? Why is it labeled? I figured it'd be green tea. It was orange. It said mandarin on it. I'm like, wait a minute. I didn't remember buying that. But we go on tea runs like twice a year. We go to the store and we pick out 6 to 10 boxes of tea, and then we just drink tea all the time. And then we will go without tea for 1 or 2 months ago. I really miss tea. And then we go on another herbal tea run. And I love how Ecuador is just, some of the stores here, like the smaller stores, you'll go in and it's like 6 types of tea and that's it. And it's all like local, like herbs from the jungle or herbs from the mountains here. But it's like, I don't know what this stuff does. I'm not familiar with it. But then some of the stores here, the bigger stores, you have a whole wall of tea, just like in the United States. You have a huge selection, like 1,000 different teas, and it's just it just feels so good that, you could go get whatever you want pretty much. They don't have Lipton tea and they don't have the stash teas. They don't have the U.S. teas. Every now and again, you'll see some that are from the U.S., but the imported teas are like $5-6 a box. It's ridiculous. But most of the teas are like $1 to $2. And the quality is there. It's almost better than the stuff you get in the U.S., honestly. But there's still some stash teas that I'm missing. But I bought chai the other day. I can't believe they have a local Ecuadorian made chai tea blend. It's excellent. It's like literally just as good as anything I've ever gotten in the U.S. or in any Indian restaurant in the U.S. Today is August 24th, you guys. This is my last day being 50 years old. Tomorrow I'll be 29 again. 29, and I've been 29 and holding for about 20 years. But I can't believe it's my birthday tomorrow, and I was so tired today. I felt like I might get to a point where tomorrow I don't really do anything, although I'm definitely going to go shopping and tomorrow's my cheat day. I'm going to have a steak, like not a whole steak. I'll eat half of it, but it's not really much of a cheat. It's like what I'm supposed to be eating anyway for my diet, but alrighty. On the Schumann resonance in California, let's see. Yeah, the Schumann resonances are really bizarre around the world. It is kind of starting to freak me out, to be honest. I'm going to say what things started off at and then where they ended up. But just you guys wait. I looked at this earlier. California started off at midnight at 126 hertz, and they went up to 133 hertz by 4 in the morning. Hofuf, Saudi Arabia, started at 9, like almost normal. 9 hertz frequency at 4 a.m. and they were down to 0 by 4 a.m. At midnight, I'm sorry. At midnight they were at 9, they went down to 0. Now, Lithuania was at 20 hertz frequency at midnight, and they were down to 0 by 4 a.m. Alberta, Canada was at 55, which is weird for Alberta, Canada. They've been in the 300s to 400 range. And at 4 a.m. they were down to 0. Northland, New Zealand started off at 90 and they went down to 76. And Hulului, South Africa, started at 0 and went to 0. Nothing happened. Just straight 0. So What I'm trying to say here is the only one at midnight that was at 0 was South Africa. And the closest to 0 at that point was Hofuf, Saudi Arabia at 9 hertz frequency, right? But by 4 in the morning this morning, Hofuf, Saudi Arabia, Lithuania, Alberta, Canada, and Honolulu, South Africa were all at 0 hertz frequency. I just think that might possibly be something to do with the fact that the magnetosphere is practically nil. We're coming up with a null set. Big fat goose eggs. It's very weird. All right. So we are in A Course in Miracles, just to go over a couple things here and there. Lesson 76. So acim.org. If you have a hard time seeing it, it actually, you can hear it. There's a way to listen to these being spoken out loud, which is nice. All right. So this lesson is, I am under no laws but God's. I am under no laws but God's. We have observed before how many senseless things have seemed to you to be salvation. Each has imprisoned you with laws as senseless as itself. You're not bound by them. Yet to understand that this is so, you must first realize salvation lies not there. While you would seek for it in things that have no meaning, you bind yourself to laws that make no sense. Yeah, you mean like the oral sex laws? It makes no freaking sense. Thus, do you seek to prove salvation is where it is not. It's true. Let's see. There's another funny... This is kind of a funny paragraph in the lesson, and you're going to have to read the whole lesson to get the whole context and gist, but think of the freedom in the recognition that you are not bound by all the strange and twisted laws you have set up to save you. You really think that you would starve unless you have stacks of green paper strips and piles of metal discs? You really think that a small round pellet or some fluid pushed into your veins through a sharpened needle will ward off disease and death? Oh, he's not talking about heroin. He's actually talking about like vitamins. Some people get their vitamins by injection. You really think you are alone unless another body is with you? Yeah, I know I'm never alone. I have aliens in my room all the time. And God is always with me too. It is insanity to think that thinks these things. You call them laws and put them under different names in a long catalog of rituals that have no use and serve no purpose. You think you must obey the laws of medicine, of economics, and of health. Protect the body and you will be saved. These are not laws but madness. The body is endangered by the mind that hurts itself. The body suffers just in order that the mind will fail to see it is the victim of itself. The body's suffering is a mask the mind holds up to hide what really suffers. It would not understand it is its own enemy, that it attacks itself and wants to die. It is from this, your quote-unquote laws, that would save your body. It is for you. It is for this you think you are a body. Oh, yeah, right? All right. This is a really entertaining lesson, though, actually. Lesson 76. I am under no laws but God's. Yeah, this is trying to get you to shake the idea that you are not even. You're not a body. You're not. You are a soul living in a body right now. There's nothing. The laws like that man makes has nothing to do with your soul. Nothing can harm your soul. Your soul can never die. 100% you are always safe. Whether you live in the body or you don't, you're 100% good. Anyway, go ahead and download a Course in Miracles app of your choice to read this, or just go check it out on acim.org. There's many websites that have this stuff. It's all free, always free. So, no excuses. If you're attracted to these teachings, go ahead and start them. Or if you're already doing it, good for you, because these are excellent. And if you've already gone through this is a lovely refresher course. All right. Today is Saturday, which means we are going back to read The Science of Getting Rich. This is week 3 in reading The Science of Getting Rich text. And I don't know if I could get, I know he's listening, if I can get Mason Adams here for next Saturday or the Saturday after, I will temporarily have a break in The Science of Getting Rich reading, and we'll put his interview in first, and then we'll make him a priority. I know he's starting his school soon, his university, so hopefully we could get that in before he starts and gets super swamped with homework. But otherwise, we'll just keep reading this. This is an excellent. I hope you guys are enjoying it. I love this. I love this book. I've read it many times. So it helps me to read it out loud to you guys. I hope that it's helping you guys too. It's really, he's really right on. There's a lot of stuff that's like really weird, like, because it's 100 years old. It's written in 1910. It's a classic. So a lot of his references, you're like, what? If he says any racist words, I don't think he does. But if he does, I'm probably going to skip over it or say I refuse to say that word. But I don't think he does in this manuscript. It's very old. In a lot of the super old manuscripts, they do say weird stuff where you're just like, whoa. It was like supposed to be, and usually they're commenting on how it's wrong, but then they'll still say the words because the consciousness wasn't there yet. But I think so far it's so good. This one just is talking about money, and it makes sense. A lot of the stuff just makes absolute sense. So anyway, all right, guys, I'll be right back. And when I come right back, we're going to go over the Science of Getting Rich, starting with Chapter 9, How to Use the Will. Which is really important to know, right? Okay, be right back. If you're listening to this, you obviously like podcasts, and you probably like music too. Long walks on the beach, romantic dancing under the stars, and oh wait, we're not doing that right now. On Spotify, you can listen to all of that in one place for free, and you don't even need a premium account, which is cool. Free is always good. Spotify has a huge catalog of podcasts on every topic, including the one you're listening to right now. On Spotify, you can follow your favorite podcasts so you never miss an episode. Download episodes to listen to offline wherever you are, including your long romantic walks on the beach. Also, one thing I love about Spotify is that you can easily share what you're listening to with your friends via Spotify's integrations with the social platforms like Instagram. So that makes it really, really versatile. Just search for Metaphysical Soul Speak on the Spotify app or browse podcasts in the Your Library tab. And follow me, of course, don't forget, so that you'll never again miss an episode of Metaphysical Soul Speak. Spotify is the world's leading music streaming service, and now it can be your go-to for podcasts too. Thank you guys so much for supporting Metaphysical Soul Speak on Spotify. Metaphysical Soul Speak is run on sponsors and listener support. This means listeners like you. If you are so inclined to support my efforts and my little podcast, please visit me at anchor.fm/metaphysical and pledge an amount of your choosing today. Thank you. The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. This is a classic book from the year 1910. It was written during the Victorian era. Last week, we ended right at chapter 9, How to Use the Will. This is part 3, and if you just are joining us, please go back and listen to part 1 and part 2 first, so that you understand where we're going with this. Okay, so chapter 9, How to Use the Will. To set about getting rich in a scientific way, you do not try to apply your willpower to anything outside of yourself. You have no right to do so anyway. It is wrong to apply your will to other men and women in order to get them to do what you wish done. It is as flagrantly wrong to coerce people by mental power as it is to coerce them by physical power. If compelling people by physical force to do things for you reduces them to slavery, compelling them by mental means accomplishes exactly the same thing. The only difference is in methods. If taking things from people by physical force is robbery, then taking things by mental force is robbery also. There is no difference in principle. You have no right to use your willpower upon another person, even quote unquote for his own good. For you do not know what is for his good. The science of getting rich does not require you to apply power or force to any other person in any way whatsoever. There is not the slightest necessity for doing so. Indeed, any attempt to use your will upon others will only tend to defeat your purpose. You do not need to apply your will to things in order to compel them to come to you. That would simply be trying to coerce God, which would be foolish and useless, as well as irreverent. You do not have to compel God to give you good things any more than you have to use your willpower to make the sun rise. You do not have to use your willpower to conquer an unfriendly deity or to make stubborn and rebellious forces to do your bidding. Substance is friendly to you and is more anxious to give you what you want than you are to get it. To get rich, you need only to use your willpower upon yourself. When you know what to think and do, then you must use your will to compel yourself to think and do the right things. That is the legitimate use of the will in getting what you want. To use it in holding yourself to the right course. Use your will to keep yourself thinking and acting in the certain way. Do not try to project your will or your thoughts or your mind out into space to quote-unquote act on things or people. Keep your mind at home. It can accomplish more there than elsewhere. Use your mind to form a mental image of what you want and to hold that vision with faith and purpose. And use your will to keep your mind working in the right way. The more steady and continuous your faith and purpose, the more rapidly you will get rich, because you will make only positive impressions upon substance, and you will not neutralize or offset them by negative impressions. The picture of your desires, held with faith and purpose, is taken up by the formless and permeates it to great distances throughout the universe, for all I know. As this impression spreads, all things are set moving towards its realization. Every living thing, every inanimate thing, and the things yet uncreated are stirred towards bringing into being that which you want. All force begins to be exerted in that direction. All things begin to move toward you. The minds of people everywhere are influenced towards doing the things necessary to the fulfilling of your desires, and they work for you unconsciously. But you can check all this by starting a negative impression in the formless substance. Doubt or unbelief is as certain to start a movement away from you as faith and purpose are to start one toward you. It is not by understanding this that most people who try to make use of mental science in getting rich make their failure. Every hour and moment you spend in giving heed to doubts and fears, every hour you spend in worry, every hour in which your soul is possessed by unbelief, sets a current away from you in the whole domain of intelligent substance. All the promises are unto them that believe, and unto them only. Now, how insistent Jesus was upon this point of belief. And now you know the reason why. Since belief is all important, it behooves you to guard your thoughts. And as your beliefs will be shaped to a very great extent by the things you observe and think about, it is important that you should command your attention. And here the will comes into use. For it is by your will that you determine upon what things your attention shall be fixed. If you want to become rich, you must not make a study of poverty. Things are not brought into being by thinking about their opposites. Health is never to be attained by studying disease and thinking about disease. Righteousness is not to be promoted by studying sin and thinking about sin. And no one ever got rich by studying poverty and thinking about poverty. Medicine as a science of disease has increased disease. Religion as a science of sin has promoted sin. And economics as a study of poverty will fill the world with wretchedness and want. Do not talk about poverty. Do not investigate it. or concern yourself with it. Never mind what its causes are, because you have nothing to do with them. What concerns you is the cure. Do not spend your time in charitable work or charity movements. All charity only tends to perpetuate the wretchedness it aims to eradicate. I do not say that you should be hard-hearted or unkind and refuse to hear the cry of need. But you must not try to eradicate poverty in any of the conventional ways. Put poverty behind you, and put all that pertains to it behind you, and make good. Get rich. That is the best way you can help the poor. And you cannot hold the mental image, which is to make you rich, if you fill your mind with pictures of poverty. Do not read books or papers which give circumstantial accounts of the wretchedness of the tenement dwellers, or the horrors of child labor, and so on. Do not read anything which fills your mind with gloomy images of want and suffering. You cannot help the poor in the least by knowing about these things. And the widespread knowledge of them does not tend at all to do away with poverty. What tends to do away with poverty is not getting the pictures of poverty into your mind, but getting pictures of wealth into the minds of the poor. You are not deserting the poor in their misery when you refuse to allow your mind to be filled with pictures of that misery. Poverty can be done away with not by increasing the number of well-to-do people who think about poverty, but by increasing the number of poor people who purpose with faith to get rich. The poor do not need charity. They need inspiration. Charity only sends them a loaf of bread to keep them alive in their wretchedness, or gives them an entertainment to make them forget for an hour or two. But inspiration will cause them to rise out of their misery. If you want to help the poor, demonstrate to them that they can become rich. Prove it by getting rich yourself. The only way in which poverty will ever be banished from this world is by getting a large and constantly increasing number of people to practice the teachings of this book. People must be taught to become rich by creation, not by competition. Every man who becomes rich by competition throws down behind him the ladder by which he rises and keeps others down. But every man who gets rich by creation opens up a way for thousands to follow him and inspires them to do so. You are not showing hardness of heart or an unfeeling disposition when you refuse to pity poverty, see poverty, read about poverty, or think or talk about it, or to listen to those who do talk about it. Use your willpower to keep your mind off the subject of poverty and to keep it fixed with faith and purpose on the vision of what you want. Chapter 10, Further Use of the Will. You cannot retain a true and clear vision of wealth if you are constantly turning your attention to opposing pictures, whether they be external or imaginary. Do not tell of your past troubles of a financial nature if you have had them. Do not think of them at all. Do not tell of the poverty of your parents, the hardships of your early life. To do any of these things is to mentally class yourself with the poor for the time being, and it will certainly check the movement of things in your direction. Let the dead bury their dead, as Jesus said. Put poverty and all things that pertain to poverty completely behind you. You have accepted a certain theory of the universe as being correct and are resting all your hopes of happiness on its being correct. And what can you gain by giving heed to conflicting theories? Do not read religious books which tell you that the world is coming to an end. And do not read the writing of muckrakers and pessimistic philosophers who tell you that it is going to the devil. The world is not going to the devil, it is going to God. It is a wonderful becoming. True, there may be a good many things in existing conditions which are disagreeable, but what is the use of studying them when they are certainly passing away? And when the study of them only tends to check their passing and keep them with us? Why give time and attention to things which are being removed by evolutionary growth when you can hasten their removal only by promoting the evolutionary growth as far as your part of it goes? No matter how horrible in seeming may be the conditions in certain countries, sections, or places, you waste your time and destroy your own chances by considering them. You should interest yourself in the world's becoming rich. Think of the riches the world is coming into instead of the poverty it is growing out of. And bear in mind that the only way in which you can assist the world in growing rich is by growing rich yourself through the creative method, not the competitive one. Give your attention wholly to riches. Ignore poverty. Whenever you think or speak of those who are poor, think and speak of them as those who are becoming rich, those who are to be congratulated rather than pitied. Then they and others will catch the inspiration and begin to search for the way out. Because I say that you are to give your whole time and mind and thought to riches, it does not follow that you are to be sordid or mean. To become really rich is the noblest aim you can have in life, for it includes everything else. On the competitive plane, the struggle to get rich is a godless scramble for power over other men. But when we come into the creative mind, all of this is changed. All that is possible in the way of greatness and soul unfoldment, of service and lofty endeavor, comes by way of getting rich. All is made possible by the use of things. If you lack for physical health, you will find that the attainment of it is conditional on your getting rich. Only those who are emancipated from financial worry and who have the means to live a carefree existence and follow hygienic practices can have and retain health. Moral and spiritual greatness is possible only to those who are above the competitive battle for existence. And only those who are becoming rich on the plane of creative thought are free from the degrading influences of competition. If your heart is set on domestic happiness, remember that love flourishes best where there is refinement, a high level of thought, and freedom from corrupting influences. And these are to be found only where riches are attained by the exercise of creative thought without strife or rivalry. You can aim at nothing so great or noble, I repeat, as to become rich. And you must fix your attention upon your mental picture of riches to the exclusion of all that may tend to dim or obscure the vision. You must learn to see the underlying truth in all things. You must see beneath all seemingly wrong conditions the great one life, ever moving forward toward fuller expression and more complete happiness. It is the truth that there is no such thing as poverty, that there is only wealth. Some people remain in poverty because they are ignorant of the fact that there is wealth for them. And these can best be taught by showing them the way to affluence in your own person and practice. Others are poor because while they feel there is a way out, they are too intellectually indolent to put forth the mental effort necessary to find that way and by travel it. And for these, the very best thing you could do is arouse their desire by showing them the happiness that comes from being rightly rich. Others still are poor because while they have some notion of science, they have become so swamped and lost in the maze of metaphysical and occult theories that they do not know which road to take. They try a mixture of many systems and fail in all. For these, again, the very best thing is to do is to show the right way in your own person and practice. An ounce of doing things is worth a pound of theorizing. The very best thing you can do for the whole world is to make the most of yourself. You can serve God and man in no more effective way than by getting rich. That is, if you get rich by the creative method and not by the competitive one. Another thing, we assert that this book gives in detail the principles of the science of getting rich, and if that is true, you do not need to read any other book upon the subject. This may sound narrow and egotistical, but consider there is no more scientific method of computation in mathematics than by addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. No other method is possible. There can only be but one shortest distance between 2 points. There is only one way to think scientifically, and that is to think in the way that leads by the most direct and simple route to the goal. No man has yet formulated a briefer or less complex system than the one set forth herein. It has been stripped of all non-essentials. When you commence on this, lay all others aside, put them out of your mind altogether. Read this book every day, keep it with you, commit it to memory, and do not think about other systems and theories. If you do, you will begin to have doubts and to be uncertain and wavering in your thought, and then you will begin to make failures. After you have made good and become rich, you may study other systems as much as you please, but until you are quite sure that you have gained what you want, do not read anything on this line but this book, unless it be the authors mentioned in the preface. And read only the most optimistic comments on the world's news, those in harmony with your picture. Also, postpone your investigations into the occult. Do not dabble in theosophy, spiritualism, or kindred studies. It is very likely that the dead still live and are near. But if they are, let them alone and mind your own business. Wherever the spirits of the dead may be, they have their own work to do and their own problems to solve, and we have no right to interfere with them. We cannot help them, and it is very doubtful whether they can help us, or whether we have any right to trespass upon their time if they can. Let the dead and the hereafter alone. Solve your own problem. Get rich. If you begin to mix with the occult, you will start mental cross-currents, which will surely bring your hopes to shipwreck. Now this and the preceding chapters have brought us to the following statement of basic facts. There is a thinking stuff from which all things are made, and which in its original state permeates, penetrates, and fills the interspaces of the universe. A thought in this substance produces the thing that is imaged by that thought. Man can form things in his thought, and by impressing his thought upon formless substance, can cause the thing he thinks about to be created. In order to do this, man must pass from the competitive to the creative mind. He must form a clear mental picture of the things he wants, and to hold this picture in his thoughts with a fixed purpose to get what he wants, and the unwavering faith that he does get what he wants. Closing his mind against all that may tend to shake his purpose, dim his vision, or quench his faith. In addition to all of this, we shall now see that he must live and act in a certain way. Chapter 11, Acting in the Certain Way. Thought is the creative power, or the impelling force which causes the creative power to act. Thinking in a certain way will bring riches to you, but you must not rely upon thought alone. Paying no attention to personal action. That is the rock upon which many otherwise scientific, metaphysical thinkers meet shipwreck. The failure to connect thought with personal action. We have not yet reached the stage of development, even supposing such a stage to be possible, in which man can create directly from formless substance without nature's processes or the work of human hands. Man must not only think, but his personal action must supplement his thought. By thought, you can cause the gold in the hearts of the mountains to be impelled toward you, but it will not mine itself, refine itself, coin itself into double eagles, and come rolling along the road seeking its way into your pocket. Under the impelling power of the Supreme Spirit, men's affairs will be so ordered that someone will be led to mine the gold for you. Other men's business transactions will be so directed that the gold will be brought towards you, and you must so arrange your own business affairs that you may be able to receive it when it comes to you. Your thought makes all things animate and inanimate work to bring you what you want. But your personal activity must be such that you can rightly receive what you want when it reaches you. You are not to take it as charity nor to steal it. You must give every man more in use value than he gives you in cash value. The scientific use of thought consists in forming a clear and distinct mental image of what you want, in holding fast to the purpose to get what you want, and in realizing with grateful faith that you do get what you want. Do not try to project your thought in any mysterious or occult way with the idea of having it go and do the things for you. That is wasted effort and will weaken your power to think with sanity. The action of thought in getting rich is fully explained in the preceding chapters. Your faith and purpose positively impress your vision upon formless substance, which has the same desire for more life that you have. And this vision received from you sets all the creative forces at work in and through their regular channels of action, but directed toward you. It is not your part to guide or supervise the creative process. All you have to do with that is to retain your vision, stick to your purpose, and maintain your faith and gratitude. But you must act in a certain way so that you can appropriate what is yours when it comes to you, so that you can meet the things you have in your picture and put them in their proper places as they arrive. You can really see the truth of this. When things reach you, they will be in the hands of other men who will ask an equivalent for them. And you can only get what is yours by giving the other man what is his. Your pocketbook is not going to be transformed into a Fortunata's purse, which shall be always full of money without any effort on your part. This is the crucial point in the science of getting rich, right here where thought and personal action must be combined. There are very many people who, consciously or unconsciously, set the creative forces in action by the strength and persistence of their desires, but who remain poor because they do not provide for the reception of the thing they want when it comes. By thought, the thing you want is brought to you. By action, you receive it. Whatever your action is to be, it is evident that you must act now. You cannot act in the past, and it is essential to the clearness of your mental vision that you dismiss the past from your mind. You cannot act in the future, for the future is not even here yet. And you cannot tell how you will want to act in any future contingency until that contingency has arrived. Because you are not in the right business or in the right environment now, do not think that you must postpone action until you get into the right business or environment. And do not spend time in the present taking thought as to the best course in possible future emergencies. Have faith in your ability to meet any emergency when it arrives. If you act in the present with your mind on the future, your present action will be with a divided mind, and it will not be effective. Put your whole mind into present action. Do not give your creative impulse to original substance and then sit down and wait for results. If you do, you'll never get them. Act now. There is never any time but now, and there never will be any time but now. If you are ever to begin to make ready for the reception of what you want, you must begin now. And your action, whatever it is, must most likely be in your present business or employment, and must be upon the persons and things in your present environment. You cannot act where you are not. You cannot act where you have been. You cannot act where you're going to be. You can only act where you are. Do not bother as to whether yesterday's work was well done or ill done. Do today's work well. Do not try to do tomorrow's work now. There will be plenty of time to do that when you get to it. Do not try by occult or mystical means to act on people or things that are out of your reach. Do not wait for a change of environment before you act. Get a change of environment by action. You can so act upon the environment in which you are now as to cause yourself to be transferred to a better environment. Hold with faith and purpose the vision of yourself in the better environment, but act upon your present environment with all your heart and all your strength and with all your mind. Do not spend any time daydreaming or castle building. Hold to the one vision of what you want and act now. Do not cast about seeking some new thing to do or some strange, unusual, or remarkable action to perform as a first step towards getting rich. It is probable that your actions, at least for some time to come, will be those you have been performing for some time past. But you are to begin now to perform these actions in the certain way, which will surely make you rich. If you are engaged in some business and feel that it is not the right one for you, do not wait until you get into the right business before you begin to act. Do not feel discouraged or sit down and lament because you are misplaced. No man was ever so misplaced that he could not find the right place. And no man ever became so involved in the wrong business, but that he could not get into the right business. Hold the vision of yourself in the right business with the purpose to get into it and the faith that you will get into it and you are getting into it, but act in your present business. Use your present business as a means to getting a better one. Use your present environment as a means of getting into a better one. Your vision of the right business, if held with faith and purpose, will cause the Supreme to move the right business towards you, and your action, if performed in the certain way, will cause you to move toward the business. If you are an employee or a wage earner and feel that you must change places in order to get what you want, do not project your thought into space and rely upon it to get you another job. It will probably fail to do so. Hold the vision of yourself in the job you want while you act with faith and purpose on the job you have, and you will certainly get the job you want. Your vision and faith will set the creative force in motion to bring it toward you, and your action will cause the forces in your own environment to move you toward the place you want. In closing this chapter, we will add now another statement to our syllabus. There is a thinking stuff from which all things are made, and which in its original state permeates, penetrates, and fills the interspaces of the universe. A thought in this substance produces the thing that is imaged by that thought. Man can form things in his thought, and by impressing his thought upon formless substance, can cause a thing he thinks about to be created. In order to do this, man must pass from the competitive to the creative mind. He must form a clear mental picture of the thing he wants and hold this picture in his thoughts with the fixed purpose to get what he wants and the unwavering faith that he does get what he wants, closing his mind to all that may tend to shake his purpose, dim his vision, or quench his faith, that he may receive what he wants when it comes. Man must act now upon the people and the things in his present environment. Chapter 12. Efficient action. You must use your thought as directed in previous chapters and begin to do what you can. Do where you are. And you must do all that you can. Do where you are. Well, I'm going to read that again. You must use your thought as directed in previous chapters and begin to do what you can do where you are. And you must do all that you can do where you are. Whew, that was better. Okay. You can advance only by being larger than your present place. And no man is larger than his present place who leaves undone any of the work pertaining to that place. The world is advanced only by those who more than fill their present places. If no man quite filled his present place, you could see that there must be a going backward in everything. Those who do not quite fill their present places are dead weight upon the society, government, commerce, and industry. They must be carried along by others at a great expense. The progress of the world is retarded only by those who do not fill the places they are holding. They belong to a former age and a lower stage or plane of life, and their tendency is toward degeneration. No society could advance if every man was smaller than his place. Social evolution is guided by the law of physical and mental evolution. In the animal world, evolution is caused by an excess of life. When an organism has more life than can be expressed in the functions of its own plane, it develops the organs of a higher plane, and a new species is originated. There would never have been new species had there not been organisms which more than filled their places. The law is exactly the same for you. Your getting rich depends upon your applying this principle to your own affairs. Every day is either successful day or a day of failure. It is the successful days which get you what you want. If every day is a failure, you'll never get rich. While if every day is a success, you cannot fail to get rich. If there is something that may be done today and you do not do it, you have failed insofar as that thing is concerned, and the consequences may be more disastrous than you imagine. You cannot foresee the results of even the most trivial act. You do not know the workings of all the forces that have been set moving in your behalf. Much may be depending on your doing some simple act. It may be the very thing which is to open the door of opportunity to very great possibilities. You can never know all the combinations which supreme intelligence is making for you in the world of things and of human affairs. Your neglect or failure to do some small thing may cause a long delay in getting what you want. Do every day all that can be done that day. There is, however, a limitation or qualification of the above that you must take into account. You are not to overwork nor to rush blindly into your business in the effort to do the greatest possible number of things in the shortest possible of time. You're not to try to do tomorrow's work today, nor to do a week's work in one day. It is really not the number of things you do, but the efficiency of each separate action that counts. Every act is, in itself, either a success or a failure. Every act is, in itself, either effective or inefficient. Every inefficient act is a failure, and if you spend your life in doing inefficient acts, your whole life will be a failure. The more things you do, the worse for you if all of your acts are inefficient ones. On the other hand, every efficient act is a success in itself. And if every act of your life is an efficient one, your whole life must be a success. The cause of failure is doing too many things in an inefficient manner and not doing enough things in an efficient manner. You will see that it is a self-evident proposition that if you do not do any inefficient acts, and if you do a sufficient number of efficient acts, you will become rich. If now it is possible for you to make each act an efficient one, you will see again that the getting of riches is reduced to an exact science like mathematics. The matter turns then on the question whether you can make each separate act a success in itself, and this you can certainly do. You can make each act a success because all power is working with you, and all power cannot fail. Power is at your service, and to make each act efficient, you have only to put power into it. Every action is either strong or weak, and when everyone is strong, you are acting in a certain way which will make you rich. Every act can be made strong and efficient by holding your vision while you are doing it and putting the whole power of your faith and purpose into it. It is at this point that the people fail who separate mental power from personal action. They use the power of the mind in one place and at one time, and they act in another place and at another time. So their acts are not successful in themselves. Too many of them are inefficient. But if all power goes into every act, no matter how commonplace, every act will be a success in itself. And as in the nature of things, every success opens a way to other successes. Your progress toward what you want and the progress of what you want toward you will become increasingly rapid. Remember that successful action is cumulative in its results. Since a desire for more life is inherent in all things, when a man begins to move toward larger life, more things attach themselves to him, and the influence of his desire is multiplied. Do every day all that you can do that day, and do each act in an efficient manner. In saying that you must hold your vision while you are doing each act, however trivial or commonplace, I do not mean to say that it is necessary at all times to see the vision distinctly to its smallest details. It should be the work of your leisure hours to use your imagination on the details of your vision and to contemplate them until they are firmly fixed upon memory. If you wish speedy results, spend practically all your spare time in this practice. By continuous contemplation, you will get the picture of what you want, even to the smallest details, so firmly fixed upon your mind and so completely transferred to the mind of formless substance, that in your working hours you need only to mentally refer to the picture to stimulate your faith and purpose and cause your best effort to be put forth. Contemplate your picture in your leisure hours until your consciousness is so full of it that you can grasp it instantly. You will become so enthused with its bright promises that the mere thought of it will call forth the strongest energies of your whole being. Let us again repeat our syllabus, and by slightly changing the closing statements, bring it to the point we now have reached. There is a thinking stuff from which all things are made, and which in its original state permeates penetrates and fills the interspaces of the universe. A thought in this substance produces the thing that is imaged by the thought. Man can form things in his thought, and by impressing this thought upon formless substance, can cause the thing he thinks about to be created. In order to do this, man must pass from the competitive to the creative mind. He must form a clear mental picture of the thing he wants and do with faith and purpose all that can be done each day, doing each separate thing in an efficient manner. All right, guys, there you have it. Next week, we will start with chapter 13, which is called Getting into the Right Business. So I hope that you guys are enjoying this. I love this book so much. I mean, it's reminding me of finer points that I had maybe forgotten. I mean, you know, I did use these principles and got a lot of things. I got a better apartment. I was able to get a car. I had a car already, but I ended up getting a new car, like a brand new car. It was like a year old or something, almost practically brand new. I was able to move to an area I wanted to live, and eventually I was able to travel, and I was able to now live in Ecuador, which has been my dream for 13 years to live here, in this exact city where I'm at now. And now that I'm here, there's a house here that I wanted. Oh, also, I use these principles to buy a house in the United States, which I still own. But it's in Detroit, and after I was there, I realized I wanted to live here, so I'm here now. And I don't know, this is a good book. I mean, I hope that you guys are enjoying it. I hope that you're using the principles of it. It's free online. You could go look up The Science of Getting Rich if you really honestly can't wait till next week to hear what else comes. But I find that it's good to read it out loud, and it's good to read it quietly because that's different parts of your brain. And now that I'm reading it to you guys, I might go back and listen to myself, because just to listen to these words, that's yet another part of the brain. It helps to have this stuff inside you, and you're deep in your subconscious mind. This is absolutely 100% correct knowledge. It's deep, real metaphysics. It's not supernatural or occult. It's actual metaphysics, like, you know, quantum physics almost, you know. It's the physics that's between the scientific quantum physics and the metaphysical. I don't know how to say that, but it's deep metaphysical principles. And you can apply this not only for getting rich, you could apply this towards love or relationships or friendship, you know, getting new friends, moving to an area that you want to move to, getting into a business, like he said, getting into a business that you want to get into, bringing the right people to you that will help you get into the business that you want to get into. Whatever it is that you want, you can use these principles. Just just turn your mind away from things that are the opposite of what you want. Do everything in an efficient manner. And if it's really your passion, you won't have to force thinking about it. You won't help but think about it. Like every night I think about having my twin flame here with me. Every single night. But when I close my eyes, I don't imagine I'm in the apartment I'm in now. I imagine I'm in my house I want to buy. Has a swimming pool. So sometimes I'll fall asleep thinking about myself swimming in my own pool. For example. And it's so easy to think about that because I cannot wait to have a pool. I don't care if it's a small pool, but It doesn't have to be Olympic size. I'm not a huge swimmer, but I like using a pool to do underwater aerobics because water gives you like that resistance and you get results faster. So it's more efficient. And Virgos are all about the efficiency. But also it feels good, and I work with water spirits, and I want to be surrounded by spirits of water. And I've even imagined putting, because I work with fire, and I like to put candles and incense everywhere. So I feel like, I want to have, I want to have my candles all around. So I imagine that. So whatever it is that you want, like if you ever watch the movie The Secret, and the guy's imagining driving a car, that starts everything in motion to bring that car to you. So if you're imagining you're driving a random car, you're going to get a random car, and it might be a $400 piece of crap. But if you imagine yourself driving, Toyota Celica, a nice, respectable, middle-of-the-road type of car, then you'll get a Toyota Celica. If you are imagining a Tesla, which are pretty nice cars, actually, you're going to get a Tesla. Whatever it is that you want, you're going to bring to you. If you want a Jeep, you're going to get a Jeep. I had used these principles before I ever heard of this book. Some of these principles I already kind of intuited. So I would think about driving a postal truck. Do you remember the little mail trucks, the little white mail trucks from a long time ago? And I ended up getting one. And I didn't realize the process to getting one. You have to take a couple tests. You have to read like a 1,000-page manual at the post office. You have to have an appointment with the person selling the trucks. And then you can inspect the ones. And then they have to teach you how to drive them. Because if you stop too fast, you're going to roll over like a dice. Because they're square cars. They're very weird. But I had one, and I drove it all over LA on the freeway and everything else. But I'm telling you, these are scientific principles at work, and I'm glad I'm reading them now because I'm on the verge. I'm like almost a third of the way to my goal to buying the house that I want. And I'm like, okay. And I'm having to stretch and grow. I have to come up with $10,000 right now to get to that point. To where I'm like my next stage, my next goal. And it's stretching and growing me. And so I'm glad I'm reading this to you guys because I'm reading it to me as much as I'm reading it to you. Anyway, I hope that you're enjoying this book, and we'll be back on Saturday next week to read it again, chapter 13. Tomorrow, though, we're going to continue on with our class on chakras. So we started that last Sunday. But just like always, tomorrow I will be back with all brand new and unique programming. And, well, that's it. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas for upcoming shows, just write me. metaphysicalsoulspeak@gmail.com, or send me a voice message at anchor.fm/metaphysical. And, well, that's it, basically. I love each and every one of you. Thank you for being my listener, for liking or favoriting, subscribing. Every podcast has a different word for it, putting a star next to the one you like. Hopefully you'll do that. Give me a gold star. Also, I wanted to thank you guys for those of you who have already gone forward and started mentioning me in all of your metaphysical and spiritual and ascension-based Facebook groups, because I'm really starting to see momentum, and I wanted to thank you guys for doing that. Those of you who've already started to write to your email lists and posting to your Instagram people, and especially those Facebook groups, suddenly that's the thing that's helping. So I wanted to thank you guys for that so much. Anyway, that's all I gotta say for right now. I will be back tomorrow. And right now I am signing off. with peace and joy and the high vibes of the holy fifth dimension. Until next time, guys, peace. Hi guys, I know that it's summertime, it's August, I was born in August, and I know this is a hot month, especially if you're in the United States, and now we've sent the hotness over to Europe. So if you are enjoying the summer heat, but you're not enjoying what it's doing to your skin, I may have a solution for you. CTFO, known for its high-quality CBD oil hemp products. CTFO stands for Change the Future Outcome. Of course, this is changing the future outcome of your skin, your life, and, well, maybe your pocketbook if you decide to join the business for absolutely free. And the link is provided for the products and the business right in this show's description. I just wanted to let you know real quick that CTFO has a brand new full spectrum CBD oil, hemp oil infused SPF 30 sunscreen. So this looks amazing. This is really going to help you out with those fine lines, dark spots, and skin aging that normally would occur if you did not use any protection at all. As you know, CBD oil does help against free radicals. It helps get rid of wrinkles. It reverses skin conditions such as ruddiness, breakouts, and also inflammation in the skin. So this is a gentle, sheer formula enriched with antioxidants, and it protects all skin types as well as being water resistant. We also have a new After Sun skincare cream filled with vitamin D, and as you know, your skin would love to absorb the vitamin D, not just from the sun, but also from the cream after you're out of the sun. Remember, we talked about a couple weeks ago how vitamin D can help you absorb things like magnesium, potassium, vitamin C, and it goes down to the bone and it makes you so healthy. Vitamin D is excellent. And here it's this cream, this After Sun skincare cream has loads of vitamin D. So if you want to check it out, yeah, if you don't want to, that's cool. If you want to check it out, there is a link in the show's description. Just wanted to let you guys know.